Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrin and we got a first set of class changes coming up in patch 8.1. Now these are some of the initial results, initial information of some of the class changes to come to one of the few classes that I was really hoping for and really waiting for, Elemental Shaman. Now you might be thinking, Dalrin, you are a rogue channel for the most part. Where does a video updating Elemental Shamans come from? Well, if you guys weren't aware, back in Mr. Pandaria, I actually used to alt Eli Shaman. I love the idea of swinging around meatballs, and I kind of dropped off when Warlord's Agenda came around because Shaman just wasn't looking all that good for PvP. In Legion it came back and oh, it was so cool watching so many people duel as Eli Shaman, where it became a viable spec doing so much damage. And then came BFA, which is where I literally just had to get off with the spec and with the class altogether. I was really waiting though for the Shaman changes, and we finally got some in patch 8.1. So in this video I want to clue you guys in on some of the changes coming out for anybody who is a Shaman main. And yes, this video is primarily made for Shaman players, just to update you guys on what's going on. So there's a number of changes coming to the spec itself, and there's probably going to be a lot more to come, so I just want to get my initial thoughts and initial changes out early. And maybe if PTR allows me to copy a character over, I might be able to actually show you guys in a future video some of the changes closer to finalization in patch 8.1. But one of the first things that's going to be awesome is the fact that Lava Burst can now have an interesting interaction with Flame Shock. Normally you want to put Flame Shock on the enemy first, then you want to have a Lava Burst on them, because if you fire a Lava Burst mid-air and you Flame Shock the enemy, it doesn't benefit from the Flame Shock Lava Burst combo where Lava Burst crits. Blizzard is changing that, which I think is about time. So now at the beginning of the fight or a boss or a dungeon, you can start with a Lava Burst into a Flame Shock, and you will get all the crit benefits of that Lava Burst flying in the opener, which I think is awesome. This is going to just be one of those small things that just a quality of life change, and a much needed one. Second quality of life change is the balance between Lightning Bolt and other spells. The way that Elemental Shaman is designed right now in BFA, Lightning Bolt is kind of a weak spell. It's a lot of just weak little zappy damage with a few punchy Lava Burst and Flame Shock dot, but then you got your Wapow, your Earth Shock at the end with a big old crit, and that's how the playstyle feels, and it just doesn't feel that satisfying. What I never liked about Elemental Shaman and the balance between Lightning Bolt and needing to cast it is that Blizzard couldn't really ever find a way to make this ability powerful without making the spec itself overpowered. So what they have done in the past is made the ability really weak, but allowed Elemental Shamans to run around while casting Lightning Bolt. That was one of the cool things that allowed them as a caster to differentiate from others, where mages and warlocks and priests all had to stand still to cast a lot of their spells. Shamans could run around casting Lightning Bolt while moving. And Lightning Bolt will do very small minor zappy damage, and would build up different resources, maybe get you a couple procs, and as of Legion build you up the Maelstrom to be able to get your damage out. But it never really felt that satisfying, and when they designed BFA Elemental Shaman, they made it even worse. Like, the ability does nothing. So what they're going to be doing is taking away some damage from the punchy Earth Shock back into Lightning Bolt, which I think is going to be awesome. It'll make the spec at least feel like you're not just casting Lightning Bolt as just a builder, and it just feels like no damage, no damage, no damage, bam, Earth Shock damage. Now it's going to feel more like, okay, a little damage, a little damage, a little damage. Alright, I'm a bit more damage than usual, but at least it won't feel like it's kind of a waste of an ability. Where if Blizzard is going to force Elemental Shamans to have to cast Lightning Bolt in order to generate your resources, well, you might as well make that Lightning Bolt at least somewhat worth, especially when it comes to short-term fights for PvE. There was also a number of talent changes, so I will try to go through them fairly quickly to tell you guys some of the talents that are currently in the game that are being changed or adapted, and then we'll cover some of the new stuff coming out in the future. The talent of Elemental Blast will always try to pick a different secondary stat if it has an overload. That means if you get yourself an Elemental Blast and it gives you, let's say, Mastery, and when it has an overload effect, it will always try to get you a crit or haste, something that's different, so it won't ever feel like it's a bad stat. The talent of Master of the Elements will also benefit physical spell damage, which is the weirdest thing to think about when you realize that Earthquake is actually physical. For the longest time, that's something that confused me, and it felt like Master of the Elements would work so well with Earthquake, but it just never really did. So now it is going to benefit Earthquake, making this talent I feel like a little bit better. It won't be like the choice, but it'll definitely be a lot more considered. Then we got Stormkeeper, and oh boy am I happy about this one. One of the coolest things I thought about Elemental Shamans back in Legion is your artifact weapon and just how much damage it added to your lightning bolts. Not only did they make him insta-cast, but damn could you just unload on people. Whether you were lightning bolting or hitting them with a chain lightning, the amount of damage and the resources it built, it was just so empowering to cast it once and just get bam bam, just a couple insta-casts just to zap someone in their face, whether in PvP or in PvE. I always loved the ability, and when they came back with a new Stormkeeper in BFA, they completely removed any damage bonus. I feel like the whole artifact weapon and the point of it, the damage bonus was part of the playstyle. You'd get yourself a nice cast and then you get a couple insta-cast punches from a distance. But here, Stormkeeper just made your lightning bolt and your chain lightning insta-cast. And then there's a whole overload thing, but I always love the damage increase of lightning bolts. Well, Blizzard is bringing that back just for lightning bolt. They increased the damage during the ability by 250% in addition to its existing effects. I think it's going to make it feel so much better because it felt really good as an artifact weapon, and I was so disappointed that it basically just felt like an AoE. It felt like a couple free chain lightnings that you can get into an earthquake onto a group of enemies in a dungeon, and it didn't really feel like it had much use or really that much functionality for single target. It didn't feel quite as satisfying, so I'm really glad for this change. Level 15 talent of exposed elements is being removed and it's been shifted around to be replaced by Earthen Rage. So Earthen Rage can free up a spot for a whole nother talent. Not only does this allow the Earthen Rage talent to be more likely to be used and fit in a better place than where it currently was, but it also allows for another whole talent to take place of Earthen Rage. I never really liked exposed elements. I always thought it had a potential for an interesting combo, but with how low the damages of your lightning bolts, it just didn't quite feel that satisfying. So I'm actually kind of approving this change. At level 60, talent of high voltage is being completely removed as well to make a more space for a brand new talent, and here are the brand new talents that they're replacing them with. In the empty spot for level 60, they're going to have a talent called Call the Thunder. Your maximum Maelstrom is increased by 30, and your Maelstrom cost of Earthshock and Earthquake is reduced by 10. I really like that flexibility between Earthshock and Earthquake, and I kind of like the idea of increasing your Maelstrom for PvE. There's always been a PvP combo where you increase your Maelstrom, and you can store up a lot more Maelstrom with your Earthshock charges, and you always had that flexibility to play with it, but to increase this for PvE, I think it's a really good idea. And I kind of like the brand new talent and the fact that there's a new talent to kind of compete against the others in a row. And then lastly, for level 90, there's my favorite brand new talent that I think I would actually just level at Shaman to 120 just so I could play it fully. This is one of those random chance wombo combo type of talents, very similar to Survival Hunter with the Wildfire Infusion, where the Wildfire Grenade no longer just has a fire dot effect, but now has extra abilities. Like if it's shrapnel, you can use your Carve or your Raptor Strike to put up a bleed on the enemy, or the poison one that extends your poison duration, or the one where you pet kill command can just attack the enemies over and over and over. I very much like that kind of combo, so we have something like this for Shaman's Surge of Power. After an Earthshock, you get an enhancement version of your next spell. So Earthshock is going to enhance the next spell you cast. Flame Shock is going to not incur a cooldown, so if you're playing in a fight that's a dot heavy fight, maybe there's a cleave playstyle to it, and you need to Earthshock, Flame Shock to enemies, I think that's actually awesome. You can also use this for your Lightning Bolt. Your next 3 casts will cause an additional elemental overload, so you're using Lightning Bolt there to build up the Maelstrom, and it does a little more damage now in patch 8.1. I think is going to be a very interesting idea. Lava Burst reduces the cooldown of your fire or storm elemental by 6 seconds. This is very similar to what I believe it was an artifact weapon trait that you had for your weapon, where your Lava Burst would reduce the cooldown of your Ellie by, was it actually 6 seconds? It might have actually been exactly 6, if not 5 seconds. Or Frost Shock roots your target in place for 6 seconds. My question, I guess, is for this talent, because we don't actually have it on PTR right now, as patch 8.1 isn't quite in the cycle just yet. So any of all you guys that are Shaman mains should at least try to copy your character on PTR if you ever get a chance. But I believe the way that this ability will work, from what it sounds like, is you'll hit Earthshock and will tell you what next spell is empowered. Not you'll hit Earthshock and then whatever next spell you cast does get the empowerment. So I wonder if the player will have the control of, hey, let's say you hit Earthshock and then you're like Lava Burst, so you can get your Ellie back faster? Or will it be like Earth Shock and it's kind of RNG what kind of buff you get? Because for PvE, it would kind of suck to be able to get Frost Shock and not have any control whether you get it or not. So I'm really hoping this ability will be within the means of player control, as in after your Earth Shock, your next spell will determine what kind of a buff you have. So that means if you, let's say you hit Earth Shock and your Lightning Bolt, that means your Lightning Bolt is going to be strong and then your next two are going to be stronger. But once you hit the first Lightning Bolt and you get those 3 casts for additional Elemental Overload, Flame Shock won't be available for you, Lava Burst buff won't be available for you, and Frost Shock won't be available for you. Kind of like you cash in on one of the buffs, and once you hit Lightning Bolt once, that's it. You can only use Lightning Bolt for the extra bonus effect of Earth Shock, if that makes any sense. Overall, I like the idea of Surge of Power. I'm very interested to see how it's going to work out, and I feel like it has so much potential in PvP in particular. I like that flexibility to be able to choose your playstyle even a little bit, and with every single Earth Shock you can kind of get to decide how you want to play up your playstyle. In PvP you can use this to Earth Shock and put Flame Shocks on more than one target, or in a PvE boss situation, maybe you need a lot of resources, Earth Shock can go right into Lightning Bolt, so then your rotation feels a little bit faster. Or go for as many Lava Bursts and try to combine Lava Bursts together with an Earth Shock in order to get your elementals available. Let's say in a Mythic Plus dungeon and you're trying to wait for the boss fight, and while you're going through pack of mob to a pack of mob, you're trying to sink as many Lava Bursts as you can. And for PvP, I think it'd be awesome not to only have your slows and roots and knockbacks, but also get that Frost Shock root for 6 seconds. Of course, I'm pretty sure this kind of root is going to DR, but it'll be interesting if it didn't have any DR mechanisms, and I think it will be super overpowered. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about all the Shaman updates coming out in patch 8.1. Again, if you guys are not on the PTR, you do need to download it on the Blizzard website, or you can download it from the Battle.net app. And from time to time on PTR, it allows you to copy your character over. So you just have to check in from time to time. Make sure to copy your character before patch 8.1 hits, just to make sure that you're all set and ready to go to do all your kinds of testings. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. My name is Dalaran, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.